Today we are at a construction site in Nakuru City at a developer's second phase of homes for sale. We are going to meet a gentleman by the name Jacob Wainaina, and we want to understand what a property valuation really entails. So karibu.
Hi.
Hi.
Karibuni sana.
Asante sana.
Beautiful to have you here today.
Wow, we are delighted to be covering this. We want to understand property valuation and what a better place for us to learn this home.
Such a joy that you chose to come over here.
Wow.
And we are going to learn a lot, for sure. Yeah. So
Nice.
why not get in?
Wow, okay. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
This is quite great development, homes for sale. So we want to understand what property valuation is. Could you kindly give us a brief introduction and help us understand what that really means?
Thank you. Property valuation. Now, the first word is
Property.
certainly telling
Yeah.
that it's property. And there you're dealing with something that is of worth. So property valuation, rather if was just to define valuation, valuation would be a process of assessing an asset or a company to determine its worth. Exactly.
Okay.
So, and many a time it is either to do with a landed property, that means either land and anything that's on land, or anything that really moves on land.
Okay.
So that sometimes we say we can even value some.
Oh, you can value someone.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really possible to place a value on a human.
We can, because if you combine the knowledge that we do have and then with the Bible knowledge, I think we can.
Okay. Okay. So, Jacob, how did you get into property valuation? Can somebody go study this? How does one become a property valuer?
Good question. And good because I realize that if I walked randomly to someone on the street and asked them who is a valuer, they may scratch their mind. But if you do the same and ask who is a lawyer, even a child will tell you who is a lawyer. So that's very important, because I have come to realize we really need to let people know what valuation is all about and who is a valuer. Valuation is a small aspect of real estate. And so real estate is bigger than that, because real estate is land and all the permanent improvement on a property or on land that is built. And so valuation is a skill that is contained in a study called real estate.
Okay. Oh, it's a skill contained in a study called real estate.
So there's a degree called real estate.
Interesting.
In our days, a little bit earlier, it was land economics. So that's what I studied.
Land economics.
Land economics. And so it's a bachelor program. And it can go all the way to a PhD level. In fact, it is there. But essentially, it's a bachelor's degree. And many universities currently are offering it, including University of Nairobi, where I went. There is JKUAT, there is Technical University, and many others within the country and abroad. So it's a vast profession, really. Yeah, and it's one of, I would say, one of the professions among the built environment.
Okay.
So that we work hand in hand with an architect. We would work hand in hand with a QS, with engineer. Yes, we're in that process. But at the end of it, because now after they have done the whole process, they hand over the property and to the valuer. To us, and they say, what is it worth? And now our responsibility is not just to state the value, but also to think about how can we improve it. How can we manage it so that a valuer can also be qualified to be an estate agent.
So they are truly one, an agent and a valuer can be in the truly one, or
no.
Different?
There is a difference, because qualification and even authorization is done differently. A valuer would give the value. An estate agent would be, now we know many agents around.
Yeah, true.
Zaga Mashaba. Now those are estate agents.
Estate agent.
And there is a different institution that really governs them.
Okay.
A valuer is also governed by a different
institution. Okay.
And he's also a manager.
Property manager.
Property manager. Those are three things.
Oh.
Yeah, but now all those you can study. You study them under real estate. Okay. So that you can end up specializing at the end of the day in any of them. But now valuation is that subset of real estate.
Wow. So you said that you studied at the University of Nairobi.
You're right.
Is it something you chose to go through, or was it that process? Are you really passionate about this? Or is this what you truly envisioned yourself doing many years after campus?
That's a very interesting question, because I was thinking a little bit back. I went to school in the days when we went to school because of getting money.
Okay.
Purely. Yeah. So and I passed well. I think I studied well and passed well. And after high school, when it was time to select the courses, it was which course do I fit because of my marks. It wasn't about.
It was because of the marks.
Yes, it was purely for the marks. And I put land economics as the last option.
Did you even understand what that
No, I didn't understand until the second year of campus. That's when I realized, and at that particular point, I realized I wasn't going to do real estate.
Okay, interesting.
So it was very interesting, because after I graduated, I didn't practice land economics. I went to church, and I've been a pastor for the last 20 years.
Allah.
I got back to real estate after COVID. That's when I realized, I think I had some training.
You've been sitting on a gold mine.
And for the last 3 years, it's been discovering again what this monster is all about. And I've come to like it, but it's fun.
It's fun. Okay. Now let me ask you: if I come to this home I'm looking for a home, who really truly needs the valuation most between the buyer and the seller?
Both. The buyer would need a valuation just so that they know what they are buying, the worth of what they are buying, the value of what they are getting. The seller, of course, wants the best price for
whatever it is that
they're selling. Exactly, they've developed. And so valuation will go both ways. But in many instances, it is actually the financier of the property that asks for the valuation.
It's now I get it now. It makes a lot of sense when you say now the financial. Let's say a mortgage company.
Yes, or a bank. Okay, they're the ones who would be like, so what's this guy is asking for 10 million? Is that
really true
of this property?
Yeah, true.
And then the valuation would come in at that particular point. So we would go into it and use the the skills now that we are trained in to establish. So it's beneficial for both. But in many occasions, for properties like this one, it's normally the financier who asks for it. Now, for the buyer, that report and the valuation would be very critical, because you may end up wanting to use that property as a security.
Some place.
Some other place. And in fact, if you wanted to use it, then I will have to do a valuation for that purpose. It would be necessary. And for the seller, at the same time, then they justify and say, this is not my opinion, it's the opinion of a professional who has given it. So I can't sell it below that.
So let me ask you now, when you're doing our property valuation, this is already a home developed on a piece of land. How are you able to determine that this is worth? What factors do you look at?
Amazing. There are different methods of valuation, and there are mainly three. There is the first one is called sales.
All the sales.
The sales, and essentially in sales we consider, for example, in this neighborhood, what are the properties going for? Okay, so it's a 3-bedroom and it's a bungalow and it has these facilities. Say, for example, it is all en suite. It has a really nice quality finish. It is sitting on this size of land. What is the average price? For that, because you would not sell a house for 15 million here and it's selling 9 million in the next. So that's sales. That's comparable. Two, it is called construction or contractors or cost approach. We come and say, this is how much I've spent as a contractor to build this house, and put some little markup for the seller. So I'm selling it at this particular point. So I would establish the value of that house in that sense. The final one is income approach. An income approach is where I say this house fetches a rent of 40,000, 50,000, whatever. And then I compound that and say, okay, based on that, I use something that we call years patches and do my math and say, then this house is worth 10 million because of my calculation.
Wow, so you guys are really big people in the construction.
We are important. We are important.
We are important people.
No, we are important to the extent that if you are looking for a facility in a bank, you will not get it until they receive our report.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes. And nobody else is really certified to do that apart from us.
Okay.
Yeah.
The property value.
Property value. Yes. Yes. Oh, sorry. And I think I also needed to say that that's not the whole. That's not the only. There are different reasons why really someone who did a valuation. There are valuations that are done for bookkeeping. Bookkeeping. You at the end of the year, you're doing your balance sheet, profit and loss account, and assets. So, what will make you say my house is worth 10 million? You can't say that yourself. Somebody has to say. So we do that, and then we do for mortgage. What I've just talked about, the bank wanting to give you a facility, so they give you against a value that a valuer has given it. Or it could be for insurance. You want to insure the house. So insurance will say, hey, do a valuation and we'll come and do it. Or it could be for, what is it called? For example, if a family, if a father or a patriarch dies, and then there's succession. Okay, so we can be called in to come and do valuation for succession, so that everybody knows what they are getting from it. Sometimes you will go to court and they say, we need some bond. We are called upon to go and do valuation for security purposes. And the other one is a bad one. It's a painful one, difficult one. It's when people decide to ashana, and so we'll be called again to do that work. And it's not a very nice one, but we still do it. It happens. It
does actually happen. It does. Now let me ask you now. Okay, I would want to imagine assuming I build a home. Let me use the example of an old woman somewhere, and there were no receipts, nothing documented. How would you be able to, let's say now, the building itself cost this much? A home that was constructed, let's say 10 years ago, it's really now ready for sale. How would you know now this was the cost? The land is separate, but now the building.
Amazing.
Yeah. How would you be able to tell that?
That's a nice one. Yes. That's a nice one. But yeah, ordinarily, before a construction happens, there is our brothers or our sisters who come before us. They are called QSs. quantity surveyors. Now, quantity surveyors normally will break down a house into the minutest of materials that will go into it. And out of it, there is normally what is called the rates of construction. So I would simply come, take the measurements of the house, know what is called a plinth area. Plinth area is basically how much ground is covered by that building. And once I have gotten that, it's either in feet squares or in meter squares. Use the rate, for example. I would say this house, I think the finishing costs about 30,000 per square meter. So I would multiply that with the square meters of the house and get the value of the house.
Wow. Okay. Now let's move away from that now. Zoning of property. How would you, we are in Barnabas area.
Yeah.
Still within Nakuru County. Kuna story tunasikia ukinunua plot. Plot ya kwanza is more expensive than the plot behind it. How is that done? How do it know?
Wow, that's a nice one.
Yes.
You're taking me back to class.
Yeah, you need to refresh.
And one of the things that we say about the characteristics of real estate, there are two that, let me just educate you a bit. One characteristic that of real estate is that they are heterogeneous. Heterogeneous, meaning there are no two properties that you could say are purely identical, totally identical.
Really? But okay, proceed.
Even in this gated community, they would still be very different. And now that is the factor that determines or really affects the value. So location becomes a very important thing.
So where the plot is located.
Okay. So they are heterogeneous.
Not an exact.
Yes. And then secondly, they are immobile. Immobility of real estate. Now that brings another element, because if you bought your plot in Githero, for example, and I bought my plot in First Street, we may have bought it at the same amount, but mine will appreciate because of the location. It is at a place where the demand is high. I mean, in real estate, the factors of demand and supply play a big role. So the more a property is demanded, the higher the value in terms of location. The higher the use, the demand for use, the bigger the prices, the higher the prices. Now, zoning takes into consideration all those things. And that's why now, for example, in terms of city zoning, we will have properties within the CBD become commercial. You will not find somebody, residing in city center because you can't afford that. And essentially because the government or the county would really want to maximize. So what happens in zoning is that different places are given different use. This is residential, this is commercial, this is public use, and then over time, people now begin to utilize their land as per the demand that is coming. For example, in Nakuru, over the past 10 years, there has been, or 15 years, there has been an influx of people. Since 2008 specifically, after the post-election violence, things changed, and very many people ran to Nakuru. And properties that would go for 100,000 then are, at this particular point, going for 1 million. A plot of 50 by 100 that was about 100,000 then. Now it's going for 1 million. And that's because the demand has increased. There are many factors certainly that we can talk in a different setting why the properties in Nakuru are going higher. But basically that is it. That's how zoning happens and how it affects the values.
So that means now the property market in Nakuru is quite on a rise.
And it's not just in Nakuru, but I think Nakuru is a bit on the higher side the market in Nakuru is huge, not just locally, but even from outside. And outside in two sense. One, people from away.
Abroad? People living abroad?
No, not just abroad.
Oh, people in Kenya, but
not within. There is an element of, can I have a bite of this new city?
This new baby on the block.
And there are many factors now that contribute to even more demand, because Nakuru is claimed to be one of the most central towns within Kenya.
Okay.
Because if you are here, you can take the same time to go to Nairobi or Nyeri or Eldoret or Kisumu. It's center, and then it's cosmopolitan. Nakuru is very cosmopolitan. So because of everybody coming from everywhere wanting some property, the prices are just they're going up every time.
Okay. Now, what should a buyer in a gated community look out? Nakuja natafuta ploti, not ploti, nyumba hapa. What are the key things that I need to look out?
Certainly, a gated community comes with advantages just at the onset, the beginning. The very first is certainly the security. The fact that you are living as a community brings up, and it's very interesting because this is just taking us back to the village that we are running away from.
And living together, communal
living.
Yeah.
It's not real one, because we still have gates and these walls, which we should do away with at some point. But security is one big factor, and then secondly is the quality of the finish. Who is the developer? Because you don't want to get into a property that after 5 years then you have challenges with entire construction. Location is very key. Is it in a place that is easily accessible? Is it in a place where we have amenities, we have facilities that serve the community, schools around. If I ran out of a matchbox, I doubt you would. But if I'm around, can I get it really quick? So those are some of the. But key of all, I think the reason why there is a lot of growth of gated communities is security and accessibility.
Okay. Any rules of the thumb in terms of like must have? So you're looking for that?
Rule of the land, I think it's simply who is the developer? Who is the developer? And then do your due diligence. And this is where now you engage a professional. I think in this country, one of the biggest challenges that we have ignored the value and the role of a profession. So that, and it's very interesting because how would you put in 10 million into a home and a profession is telling you, just pay me 50,000 and do a good job for you, so that I ensure that you are safe and everything is okay, and you feel like that's too much. 50,000 or 100,000 against 10 million. I think so. Engage a professional, and there are many, many values and real estate people, and look for ones that are qualified to do that. Really, so that you get value for your money. And if you're in Nakuru, of course, I think we will talk about who am I, and then so that you can find me.
And what you will definitely be able to give your contact and say where you live. So that is coming. Now there are property investment trusts.
Yes.
Could you maybe enlighten us on that? Real estate
trusts.
Yes.
I think the reason I know about it is that a company like Centum, for example, and it has had a very robust development, investment track in that direction. That they put their money in that direction, and you entrust them with your money to do what you would want to do
with
that money. As in, it's like them investing on your behalf. So you buy a share in that company that goes to do real estate development. And so you earn from what they are getting. And I think
Not like the dividends now.
exactly. I think I read in June, Centum had really made a very good margin out of the developments, recent development. So that's the trust. So you're just entrusting
Them too.
But I wouldn't
Encourage
no, I wouldn't speak so much about that because I don't think I'm an expert in that area. So,
okay. Now, so kindly tell us about now what you're currently doing, the company you're working with or owning. We want to hear about what you do, where people can find you, and
Sawa. So Jacob, did I even say this?
You said your name.
I did. Carried away. So I'm a valuer based in Nakuru, working for legend valuers, legend management. Time of loss. And basically what we do is what I've been talking about, valuation, property valuation. But beyond that, we also do estate agency, which is purely if you want a piece of plot or land, then we can look that for you. We can, and more importantly, if you have a property that you're wondering, it stayed dormant for such a long time. Can it be disposed? We can do that in our estate agency department, and we also do property management. So if you have this unit, for example, this unit, if it was to be rented out, we can do that. We can manage the property, not just renting it, but ensuring that everything is running smoothly, so that we take away that from the landlord or the owner.
The owner of the
property management. That's essentially what property managers. And they are agents. Note, they are property agents and they are property managers. So we are in management.
So property managers and property agents are different people. So a property manager can take up the entire space.
Yeah, so it's not just collecting rent. You know, that's what agents are known for. And unfortunately, that's not everything that they do. There are some who do exactly that, just collect rent and leave you with your problems, water, but a property manager ought to take care of all that on behalf of the owner. Then they get a percentage as their income out of that. So as legend management, under legend management, we do that. Under legend valuers, we do valuation.
Okay. Also, so, there's a legend management?
Yes, legend is a group.
It's a group.
It's a group of companies. Now there is legend valuers that does valuation, and then there is legend management that does property management. Yeah, and we are based in town, in Nakuru, Main Street, Kenyatta Avenue, a house called Safety House, former Pluto's, third floor, suite 7, I'm a room 7 if you like.
You can also share your number.
My ID number.
Your telephone number.
My telephone number or cell phone number is 0720 66 3769. Could I say that again? 0720 66 3769. Call me anytime and Ichapa Biashara on property, on real estate. You will be home and dry.
Now, Jacob, now this is like your pattern shot for Nakuru is and growing. Which are the 3 key estates that you think will develop, other than the main major ones that we know, which are like 3 major areas that somebody aspiring to go get a home now should be actually eyeing?
Off the cuff, yes, and that's a nice one. But where we are currently, this is Barnabas area.
Yeah.
In fact, Barnabas has grown within the last 1 year from almost from nothing. There's a huge chunk of land that was released by one of the people around, and it has really attracted a lot of traffic. And so Barnabas is one area that is really growing. Kiamuni, all the way to Mangu,
Also growing.
is growing. The infrastructure is opening up the place, especially between Kiamuni and Mangu. That comes just before Kabarak. That's a very nice, serene place. It's village, but unfortunately, the village is going away again. So that's a nice place to go. And then going up the road, up the highway, there is Ngata area. Ngata area is also Sobea area. No, just before Sobea, maybe between Ngata Bridge and Ngata and Sobea. It's a good place. Yeah. But if you want to run away from town, I think there are very many options. The prices are still very low, but they are very good destinations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Certainly, within the city center, the prices have skyrocketed. You see, for example, where we are right now, you can't get a plot with less than 2 million.
Wow.
A 50 by 100, you can't. You won't get
anything with
less than 2 million. Yes. That's the nature. Now, in fact, I think the prime places in Nakuru now they're ranging between 1 to 1.5. Those kawaida now for me and you to look for. So that's where we would sit.
Okay.
But there are many ways I think people can still get to own a home, own a place creatively. For example, if 5 of us friends decided we want to settle in Nakuru, the advisable thing would be get in touch with someone like me, look for an acre that you can buy all of you together, and then tell me, do the job of splitting. So then you would end up with a plot that is a bit cheaper, which is what really used to happen in the in some years past. Those chamas used to come together, buy, and it still happen, buy big chunks of land and then distribute it among the members. And unfortunately, these days people are very individualistic.
And we don't even want to
and you don't want each other yet.
I don't even want you to know when I'm buying my uploads, you know?
Sadly. You will buy it at a higher price, unfortunately.
Wow. Wow, it has been a great pleasure talking to you, Jacob Wainaina, on property valuation. So it has been a great pleasure learning about property valuation with a property valuer from Legend Property Valuers and Management in Nakuru City. We are on a property development, a second phase by a developer in Nakuru, and these homes are actually for sale. So we hope that you have learned something. If you're seeking to buy a home, it's important that you seek a proper valuation for you to be able to know how much your property is worth. So thank you very much. This has been a Hustle Mtaani segment from Jengo, and we thank you very much. And remember to always let your light shine in the marketplace. Bye bye.
Cheers.
Thank you.